The screams could be heard from the top floor of the mansion. "Get out! We hate you!" A porcelain vase shattered against the wall as two 10-year-old twins, Lily and Liam, chased their nanny down the grand staircase. The terrified woman grabbed her purse and ran, tears streaking her face. At the bottom stood Richard Alden, a white billionaire with a face carved by exhaustion. He didn't say a word as the front door slammed and the nanny fled into the night. The sixth one, in just 2 months. He turned slowly toward the twins, who crossed their arms in defiance. "I don't care how rich you are," Lily spat. "You can't make us love anyone." Their words cut deeper than any broken glass. Upstairs, framed photos of their late mother lined the hallway. Her smile, now a ghost in every corner of the house. The next morning, Richard sat in his office, scrolling through nanny applications he didn't believe in anymore. None of them stayed. None of them understood the twins' anger, or the silence that followed their mother's death 2 years ago. That's when his assistant, Mara, entered quietly. "Sir, there's one more candidate waiting outside. Her name is Grace Brown." "Another one," he sighed. "Let her in." The door opened, and in stepped a tall, calm black woman with gentle eyes and a warm smile. She carried no expensive bag, no fancy clothes, just quiet confidence. "Good morning, Mr. Alden," she said softly. "I know what you're thinking, that I'll leave in a week, like the others." Richard frowned slightly. "You'd be the 7th. Then maybe 7's a lucky number," she said with a small grin. Something about her tone made him pause. It wasn't pity, it wasn't fear, just steadiness. He led her upstairs to meet the twins. Lily was sprawled across her bed, headphones in. Liam sat by the window, flicking a rubber band against the glass. They didn't even look up. Grace smiled anyway. "You must be Lily and Liam. I heard you're the smartest pair in this whole neighborhood," Lily muttered. "Who told you that?" "Another liar." Grace sat down on the floor beside them. "Not above, not beside, but below." "I don't need anyone to tell me," she said. "I can see it in your eyes." Liam snorted. "You're weird." Grace chuckled. "Good. Normal's boring." That earned a quick glance, the first sign of curiosity. Over the next few days, the house began to sound different. There were still shouts, but they were mixed with laughter now. Grace taught them how to cook simple meals. She let them paint on old cardboard boxes. She even sat with them at night when the thunder scared them awake. But the real change came one afternoon, when Lily slammed a door during a tantrum, and Grace didn't yell. She simply sat outside the room and began humming, a soft, low tune. Something comforting, something that seemed to reach right under the door and into the child's heart. Lily opened it. "Why do you always sing when we're bad?" Grace smiled gently. "Because when you're hurting, shouting won't fix it. But sometimes, a song can remind you you're still safe." Lily didn't say a word, but that night, she left her door open. Weeks passed, and Richard couldn't believe the transformation. The twins were laughing again. They ate dinner without fighting. For the first time in years, there was warmth in the house. But then, one evening, Richard came home early. He paused in the hallway when he heard the twins' voices. "Grace, can we ask you something?" Liam's voice was soft. "Why don't you have pictures of your family?" There was a pause. Grace smiled sadly. "Because I grew up in foster homes. I never really had any family pictures." Lily frowned. "That's sad." "Not really," Grace said. "It taught me how to build family wherever I go." Richard stepped quietly into view. The light from the chandelier reflected in his eyes. "Grace," he said, "you've done more for them in a month than anyone has in 2 years. I don't know how to thank you." Grace hesitated. "You don't need to thank me, sir. I just know what loss feels like." "What do you mean?" She glanced at the twins, then back at him. "When I was little, my mother worked as a maid for a wealthy family. She passed away while on the job. I was too young to remember much, except that the house was big and cold, and no one ever told me where she was buried." Something in Richard's chest tightened. "Your mother's name?" he asked quietly. "Evelyn Brown," she replied. He froze. That name, he remembered it, barely. From years ago, a housekeeper who worked for his parents, before he inherited the company. He had been a teenager then. His father had quietly let her go after an incident. He never knew what happened to her. And now, standing before him, was her daughter. Grace noticed his expression. "Is something wrong?" Richard swallowed hard, emotion thick in his throat. "Grace, your mother once worked for my family. I never knew what happened to her." Her eyes widened. "You knew her?" He nodded. "She was kind. I was only a boy, but she used to sing in the kitchen. That same song you hummed to the twins." Grace's hand covered her mouth, trembling. For a moment, neither spoke. The twins looked between them, confused but sensing something sacred in the silence. That night, after the children had gone to bed, Richard found Grace sitting in the garden, gazing at the stars. "I looked into it," he said softly. "Your mother's grave is still in the old estates town. I had it restored this evening. You can visit any time you wish. Tears welled in Grace's eyes. All these years, I thought she was forgotten. She wasn't, Richard said, his voice breaking. She helped raise me, and now, you've done the same for my children. She smiled through her tears. Then maybe her kindness didn't end with her. The next morning, Lily and Liam rushed downstairs, waving a drawing. Look, it's our family now. You, Dad, and Grace. Grace looked at the sketch for figures holding hands beneath a big yellow sun, and her eyes filled again. Do you mean that? She asked softly. Lily nodded. You didn't run away like the others. You stayed. Richard placed a hand on Grace's shoulder. You've given them back their mother's peace. Grace smiled. And they've given me something I never had. A home. The twins wrapped their arms around her, and for the first time in years, the Alden mansion didn't feel haunted. It felt alive. As the camera pans out, we see the once cold house glowing in the morning light, laughter echoing through the halls that had long been silent. Hate builds walls. Love tears them down. Sometimes, family isn't who you're born to, it's who refuses to walk away.